Look, and this is coming from an unpopular opinion. I'm all for players having the right to do whenever. However, and sometimes that goes over the long-term stability of the NBA franchise. We've seen this with the Cleveland Cavaliers and how they struggled over postseason success, how they even needed LeBron to even get to the NBA Finals while they were developing youthful stars, or else that 2016 NBA title wouldn't have happened to begin with, and we wouldn't be having a conversation about it. Besides that, we've been seeing how that even compromised even to holding out on long-term postseason plans. We had Ben Simmons over on the Sixers, how he was holding over after, I guess, mental issues, and how that compromised any long-term planning that solicited the Harden trade, or even how that even got Harden to how a situation ended with the Brooklyn Nets after his stint over with the Houston Rockets, how he even was allegedly over with a fat suit, gaining weight so we can even be look over as a trade marker after being the franchise guy for the Houston Rockets for the 8 odd years, getting them to conference finals appearances, winning a league MVP, and becoming a scoring champion for them. And now knowing over Damian Lillard's issue, vetoing majority of trade talks with like 29 other teams to just be a priority trade for the Miami Heat, or how it was getting James Harden to still be over trade talks, and even getting Daryl Morey to get blacklisted from the Sixers, even claiming him being a liar and ruining any possible long-term plans over next season, so he can probably get traded over to a future team. And there's already issues over with Joel Embiid even having less confidence over the Sixers franchise and how that's going to stay put. And sometimes I feel like player empowerment just plays over to a factor of this, and this might even involve college sports, because when you give them the bigger bread than the guys that they're working for, they could still solicit a lot more empowerment, like how LeBron James did in making that big three back in 2010. And now we're seeing that over the long-term stability involving Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, how a lot of players have a lot more control than the GMs or coaches itself. You can even see coaches be bottom-shafted when it comes to their say and how their game plan, or the way they structure their team. The star player possibly has more of a say on how that's going to be operated. And we could blame LeBron James, but I just feel like it's just over the current generation of how players would have as much of the right to go over what happens over in the NBA franchise and any other team, involving the headlines that we're getting right now involving Damian Lillard and James Harden. Even Kevin Durant, how he even walked out after getting a trade over for the Phoenix Suns when he was even in talks to get for Boston or Chicago. And this might just take over and sabotage more of possibly teams that are possibly planning for the future, or at least trying to contend. Because that would be the end goal of all this. And it's either Dame leaves for a more mediocre team over his player option, or Harden gets what he wants over the end of the day, and then putting Daryl Morey under the bus when nobody considers him a major asset to have on a contending team anymore, and still taking over that contract. And I'm not saying that that the team is not trying. Franchises haven't even tried to make it more easier for Harden to even get into competition, like he did back when he had CP3, Dwight Howard, Jeremy Lin, when even Hard carried over a fifth seed to get destroyed by the San Antonio Spurs, when he got Westbrook, when he got Melo, that time when he was with the Thunder, that time when he was in Brooklyn, literally had a big three wrapped in a silver platter and lost multiple times in the second round. And now here he is again, second round exit, because Harden's not good enough for an extension. Harden is not prime enough for an extension and not valuable enough for an extension over a supermax around Embiid's pay grade. And how we're even getting this conversation still involving Dame makes very little sense, how he's centralizing a veto for other teams to get his services, all because he thinks Miami's a better fit. It's conflicting, because any other player right now would have that right. At least Westbrook tries hard for any team that he's given. Even though possibly the Clippers weren't his first option, he possibly thought he could still make it up as a major ball handler for the Lakers. But knowing how he was treated, I swear he might go down better as a Clippers legend than he was a Lakers legend for his season and a half there. How that's standing over with Kawhi Leonard when he walked out because of player empowerment with the San Antonio Spurs not even playing majority of the season when he was fully ready to go. Or how that was for Ben Simmons when he was missing over practice. And now over the majority of players, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be given the bag or there shouldn't be benefactors, but the excessive amount of privilege, it just rubs me the wrong way. And possibly they feel this way because, these guys were possibly the best from their way from high school all the way to the pro level, and they've always had this I'm bigger than the whole team mentality. There's been no sacrificial stint mentality that wasn't supposed to put them over in the long term of how is this supposed to get me what I want later. And usually for NBA teams, there's what have you done for me lately? And I can understand Harden's stint sacrificing over a pay cut so they can pick for more depth of guys that used to play with Harden instead of actual role players that can actually contribute over the secondary unit to help. And you saw how that got them in the 7-game stop against the Celtics. Or how it was for Kawhi Leonard where he can barely even play a half a season with PG. How it's even getting Ben Simmons where he's getting benched over Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, and guys actually want to try to play basketball. So, I'm going to just see how this ride out. Because I just feel like player empowerment is a bit abused with some of the athletes in the NBA. Tell me how you feel in the comment section below. That's it from Sidelines Productions. We'll be back with further content later on. Subscribe, like, and share. And I'll be back with further news.